This is an action/strategy game with a simple yet satisfying structure. The game consists of 3 phases: the preparation phase, combat phase, and then a relaxed rebuild one after that. Those are the 3 parts of the gameplay, but the whole experience certainly shines above each of them. The basic premise revolves around purifying Mount Kafuku's demonized villages with the help of her trusty swordsman So. You control So as you purify and command villagers to fight off the demonic Seath. I appreciate how clear the outline of this game is. You're shown exactly what needs to be done right from the get-go. Reclaim the 11 masks and purify the villages across the mountain. It's a premise that's easy to get behind, with plenty of surprises along the way. One of my favorite things about the game is how balanced and experienced it is. You always feel like you're doing different activities, never lingering on any one of them too long thanks to the 3-phase structure. Purifying the villages of Mount Kafuku first requires you to rescue villagers and use resources to assign them roles, which in turn help you combat the Seath at night. But before going further, let's go over the most basic parts of the game everyone wants to know about: the combat and controls. The game is a blend of hack-and-slash action and strategy. The sword fighting in this game feels decent enough, but the stiff attack inputs and basic combos keep it from being truly excellent. A lock-on function could have helped mitigate the stiff execution of attacks a bit, but there's only so much that you can do when inputs and animations can't be cancelled mid-execution, as is the case here. One thing that could have been mitigated, however, is the basic moveset that So is limited to during the early portions of the game. Maybe it's because I attempted to clear the optional objectives of the village level multiple times, but I just felt restricted in what I could do as So. Well, until I unlocked the skill tree. You see, So actually does have an expanding skill set. You just don't unlock it until you purify the 6th village. Once you unlock So's skill tree, you can access parry, quick attacks, arrows, stun execution, streamlined strategy commands, and additional combos by the way of new sword forms. Yeah, that's a whole lot of kit entirely missing from the first half of the game. While So's skill tree does arrive a bit too late in the game, the existence of a New Game Plus and the length of the second half make good use of his abilities. Still, a total lack of progression for the main character throughout the entire first half of the game is strongly felt, especially since some of the abilities are basic features that should have probably been available from the beginning. But this game doesn't just revolve around your own sword fighting ability. There is a host of villagers hankering to join your quest to purify Mount Kafuku. This is where the game's strategy elements come in. In order to make use of the villagers, you first have to rescue them and assign them roles. You unlock villager roles or classes as you gather the game's 11 masks. Each role requires a different amount of crystal currency, so it's a process that requires some managerial skill. Do you want a smaller group of expensive specialized aesthetics at the cost of unit quantity? Or would you rather have just a large army of basic woodcutter units? There's even a unit specially made just to locate and dig up treasures buried across the village. You accumulate crystal resources by purifying parts of the village, getting rewarded with a useful skill talisman for successfully purifying the village to 100%, but of course, there's a time limit. Once nighttime arrives, you must stop resource gathering and protect Yoshiro. Commanding units is a simple affair. You can just pull up the units menu and place each one of them where they will stand and they'll automatically attack enemies. But here's where another one of my criticisms comes in. There's no way to gather every unit collectively in a single space. Well, not until you unlock So's skill tree after purifying the 6th village. Yes, basic commands and conveniences features are also locked within So's skill tree, which makes it just even more baffling why it's pushed so far into the game. I also feel like your command circle is too small, requiring you to manually hoof it to locations where you wish to place units instead of some kind of expansive top-down grid. Anyway, I do enjoy the strategy element in this game despite these small irritations. It's fun to strategically place units and choose defensive or offensive positions for your army of villagers. The creative level design makes strategic planning even more fun and varied. The levels, or unpurified villages, are wonderfully varied, each having a unique gimmick. For example, one stage prevents you from attacking enemies as So, instead forcing you solely into the commander role. Other levels take place in dark caverns, requiring you to light torches and plan your units around lighted areas so they don't get lost. I can go on, but you get the idea. Just about every single stage has some interesting twists that keeps gameplay fresh and engaging. That same level of creativity is present in the boss fights of the game. Boss fights require interesting strategies, rarely ever devolving into repetitive hack-and-slash gameplay. Each boss has a unique gimmick that compels you to use your units and abilities in different ways. You'll fight bosses with weak points that specific units like long-range archers can exploit. Some bosses flop around dealing status ailments across wide areas, and there's even one later on that feels like a one-on-one sword duel against a Souls-like boss. You still have command over your villagers during boss fights, with more generic defend and fight commands. Stage and boss designs are wonderfully varied, putting both Sou's individual combat and command of the villagers to good use equally. Additionally, each stage and boss battle has a set of optional challenges that you can tackle, some of which require specific units or talismans to achieve. Oh yeah, that brings me to equipment. You can sort through your equipment at the various villages that you've purified. These purified villages are also where you'll send villagers on construction projects to rebuild said village into a completed state. Let's talk about guards. Guards are Sou's special active skills. You start with one equipable guard, but get more slots as you upgrade Sou's skill tree, again, unlocked much later. While guards fulfill a more active role, talismans function as a passive buff. There's a wide variety of guards and talismans available in the game, allowing for multiple build possibilities. Some talismans don't even have combat benefits, such as the one that has villagers greet Sou. Nothing gets across the sheer number of talismans in the game quite as well as scrolling through them yourself. It's way more irritating than it needs to be to find a specific talisman in your inventory. You can jump through categories, sure, but there's no quick scroll or way to scroll by increments. There's a total of 72 talismans in the game, which is great for build variety, but not so great when you're cumbersomely scrolling through them one by one to find what you want. Once you're finished sorting your equipment, you'll notice there are lots of fun things to check out in the purified villages. Sending villagers on construction jobs rewards you with crystal currency, rations used for battles. There's a simple delight in petting animals and completing construction jobs. These calm rebuilding sections allow you to really reap the rewards of combating the Seath, making it feel like you're truly helping the villagers. Each villager has their own unique background text, so you can feel that sense of community and even more sharply. Oh, and the calm piano music wafting about as you pet bunnies and deer just puts a bow tie on the whole thing. Very few games have a positive feedback loop as strong as the game's purified village moments. To tie back into the start of this review, this game has a very enticing balance to it that keeps any one element from feeling too stale. The prepare, fight, and rebuild phases of the game make it a unified experience quite unlike any other. The game takes about 20 hours to complete, but you may find yourself wanting to collect everything and doing the extra challenges. This is certainly one of those games where the whole is greater than its parts, making these small irritants a little more forgivable in the end. Hey, did you know that we at Gaming Bolt upload new videos every day? Stick around, drop a like, subscribe, and hit that bell, and let us know what kind of content you'd like to see in the future with a comment below.